heads, and welcome back to the Brockopp side. Bumblebee was directed by Travis Knight and takes place in 1987, where Bumblebee gets sent to Earth to set up a new Autobot base. He becomes friends with a car-savvy girl named Charlie, played by Hailee Steinfeld, and two Decepticons are on the hunt for him. I have not legitimately looked forward to a Transformers movie in a very long time, and you know what, just after last year's The Last Night, I just felt like, you know what, the Transformers franchise is completely dead, all hope is lost, but I was still kind of intrigued as to what they could possibly do with a Bumblebee solo movie. And then just trailers and trailers started to come out, just looking more and more promising with each one. And I just was just thinking to myself, what is this that I'm feeling? Could it be hope? And I can safely say that Bumblebee is by far the best Transformers movie we've ever gotten. Live-action Transformers movie we've ever gotten. Hailee Steinfeld is the only human lead that I have actually legitimately given a shit about throughout these movies because, well, I mean, she does benefit from not being Shia LaBeouf or a poorly written Mark Wahlberg, and of course Bumblebee is just as lovable as ever, and the Transformers themselves actually look amazing. They look like they're from the original 80s cartoon, and they actually look distinct from one another, and would you look at that? None of the Transformers are racial stereotypes. Not one. And there's also a significantly fewer amount of Transformers in this movie than previous ones, so you actually get a chance to learn about some of them. You know, it's not just trying to throw random Autobots and Decepticons at you. It only sticks to a very tiny group of Transformers in the movie, including Optimus Prime, and makes a couple little cameos here and there. But since there are only a couple Transformers in the movie, the action is severely toned down, and you can actually see what the hell is going on. It doesn't just look like a pile of trash just fell over with some explosions in the background. And you know, the story itself is really nothing new. It's basically if you took E.T. and the Iron Giant and squished them together and added some Transformers into it, that's what you get for this movie. But you know what? It worked. It's a very simple story, but this movie does what the last 4 Transformers movies have failed to do, and that is actually tell a story. The Decepticons' motivation is simple, you know what's going to happen. It's not this convoluted, poorly written mishmash of 20 different drafts of one script with this convoluted thing about a Transformers artifact that we don't hear about till 2.5 hours into the movie. It's simple. Having this movie take place in the 80s and have an 80s movie feel, I think, was definitely the best way to go with this movie because it just fits so well with the tone. It's also a really funny movie, and it's not a bunch of lowbrow humor about, you know, people showing their butts and stuff. I mean, sure, the humor's a little childish, but it's still enjoyable, and it's not just... It's not that. I've had this theory about the Transformers films for quite a while now, where basically, if Michael Bay does not direct the movie, it will actually be good. And this movie proves that. This movie was the reboot of the Transformers franchise we desperately needed. It ignores most of the things that we've seen in other movies, which is totally fine, because who really gives a crap? It's so convoluted and hard to follow at this point. It's like the Transformers have been here since dinosaur times. Bumblebee's been here since World War II. Nope, none of that matters no more. There are a couple other little things, you know, from the continuity that are still there, like Sector 7, which is the government agency that was, you know, looking over the Transformers and their history and all that. But really, it's a reboot. That's really all it is. It's a soft reboot, but it's the one that this series desperately needed, and I actually have faith in the Transformers movies again. If they're gonna keep making these Transformers movies, and they make them a lot more like they did with this one, I will go see them. I am totally on board for more Transformers films like this. But on just a tiny little side note, since we now know that the Transformers look like they did in the original 80s cartoon, and Cybertron looks really cool now, Can we have a Cybertron movie already, please? I mean, come on, there's so much you could do there. Just have it take place completely on Cybertron, make it a war movie, no human characters, and especially since we can actually tell the characters apart in their Cybertronian forms, and they don't just look like dildos with legs now. Seriously, guys, just make a War for Cybertron movie. Do it! So all in all, Bumblebee is by far the best live-action Transformers movie. It's fun, it's simple, it actually tells a story, and I think the future of the Transformers films look bright. As long as Michael Bay doesn't direct any more of them. So, those are my thoughts on Bumblebee. If you guys have seen the movie, or if you found a car in a junkyard that turned out to be a giant robot from outer space and it's trying to save the planet from other robots from coming down to Earth and destroying all of it and taking it over, let me know down below, and we'll see you on the Brockopp side.